Let's have a look, shall we? So the first thing they've done is nerfed drone assist. So reduce the maximum number of drones that can be assigned to a character from 50 down to 20 drones. And it seems to be there's a bit of a blurb, a bit of a write-up about each change, I guess coming from a developer's perspective and probably including their observations as well. So we'll read all that. We won't skip anything for a patch this big. So it says we're cutting down on the number of drones that can be assigned to a single character at a time from 50. Remember, in EVE you can only have 5 drones of any type, or in any ship. 5 is the maximum for one pilot. So you need a fleet of 6 characters, 5 of them with drone ships that have 5 drones. Actually, no, you need a fleet of 10. You need a fleet of 11 characters. 10 of them running with 5 drones each, so that's 50 drones, and then all 10 characters assigning their drones to 1, which means that when that one aggresses or attacks something, all 50 drones instantly do their, well, not instantly, it's a bit of travel time, but they all do their damage together. They all focus fire, all 50 drones together. Now that's been cut down to 20, which means 4 characters versus 10. So it's actually a huge nerf. But there it is. So you'll be seeing less sort of, I'll just say, drone alpha damage and less drone swarm, especially from multi-boxes. I know, I am one, so I know how this impacts, and this is good. I think this is a good change. It was almost like automated damage. It's great when you're in a group, because you can sort of pick the characters that either have the best drone skills or the ships with the best bonuses on the field at the time, and then a smart thing to do is assign those really super drones to something like a fast tackle, because then the drones will react off the lock time of the tackle and they apply their damage sooner than if you're just locking your target manually. So that's the actual way you're supposed to use them, and it's really effective when you do use them like that. Yeah. So anyway, they go on to say there are things that we really like about drone assists. There is a skillful element of assigning drones to someone else when you are jammed, damped, or out of range. There's also some niche gameplay, such as assigning drones to an interceptor to decloak players at gate camps. Done that a lot myself. Assigning load drones to a dedicated anti-frigate ship in PvE, such as incursions or PvP, and you can assign drones if you're doing some specialized tasks like Logi, or if you're a new player, you can assign drones to your more knowledgeable friends or court mates so you can focus on piloting your own ship. These are all great examples of how to use drone assist. We feel like dropping down to 20 drones will still keep most of these cool use cases intact while cutting down on undesirable gameplay, which is that big drone alpha damage multi-boxing sort of scenario that I opened with. That's the undesirable part. Alright, Sentry drones increase the signature radius on all Sentry drones from 100 meters to 300 meters. What this means is, chat, is that you'll be able to hit Sentry drones a bit easier because they're a little bit of a bigger target now on field. So Sentry drones, if you're not aware, they're like sniper drones. So you deploy them from your ship and then they just deploy wherever your ship is and they don't move. They deploy in like a radius in a cluster around your ship, and they just sit there and don't move, and they snipe and apply their damage like that. So them being a stationary target, you'd think they'd be easy enough to hit, but they've increased the chance to hit them with turrets, and will also increase the damage that is done if you shoot them with missiles, because they're a bigger target now, bigger signature. Think of a signature radius just as think of it like a cross section of your target. So the bigger the cross section, the easier it is to hit them, right? So increasing the sig radius on Sentry drones to battle cruiser size so that they take more damage from missiles, bombs, and Vorton projectors, and are faster to lock so they can be countered more effectively. So I'm guessing, I haven't seen it myself out in the wild, but I guess Sentry drones were a bit of a problem, bit of an issue that needed a nerf. I don't like. It seems really heavy-handed, but I guess they must have been so hard to hit. I don't know. Maybe they had too much. Maybe they just have too much HP. Maybe you should make it just lower that. Well, I've already changed it now, but I'm just spitballing here, chat. Maybe they should just make it so you can just one hit them, like give them like a little small amount of HP. I don't know. Anyway, all right. Go down to armor rigs now is the next change. Yo, Cobra, welcome in. Welcome in. Early stream here. Good to see you. We've gone one live super early. I couldn't wait any longer. I just got to get through these patch notes and see. It looks like it's a big patch, and I barely started on the scroll bars. So we just discussed the drone changes, the nerf to drone assist, and the nerf to sentry drones. Now we're just looking at rigs. So yeah, I hope you're having a good day. I'll just make myself a cup of coffee and got things organised. I did have music playing. I really don't know what happened to it. No, it just stopped. Alright. There we go. Bring that back. Alright, so armor rigs. Change the drawback from armor rigs to be agility instead of max velocity. So what that means, chat, is instead of when you put a Trimark, which is an armor buffer rig, when you put a Trimark on your ship, instead of making your ship travel slower in a straight line, it's now going to make it slower to turn. New skill added. Advanced armor layering. New skill added. Advanced armor layering, chat. Grants 2% reduction to the mass penalty of armor plates per level, rank 5. Why are they adding more? Okay. Why are they adding more rig skills for us to train? There's already a bunch. I've already trained. Why? Why does your balancing patch involve me having to invest more skill points into something I've already been using for decades at this point? Why would you do that? It's not new gameplay, it's just a stat reduction. That's all it is. It's just reducing stats on your ship. It's a passive. They could have just baked whatever this skill is into the change, into the balance change. But no, they gotta get their bag. So, oh yeah, buy some skill points where you're at it because of the major patch. Gotta get those new skills trained, guys, to stay competitive or whatever. Like, come on, man. Like, I see straight through that technique, that strat. Not a fan. But is what it is. So, geez, it's 20 million is skill book, chat. Not very new bro friendly at all. It does require that you've already trained some prerequisites, so I could say that that's maybe like an advanced skill, not a new player skill or whatever. So that I don't agree with this, with how this is addressed. So if what they wanted to do to balance these armor rigs was to give a 10% reduction to the mass penalty of armor plates, they could have just put that as a dot point. Armor rigs, change the drawback, also, remove 10% to the penalty, and just baked it into the game. But no, they have to add a skill, make it rank 5, make it cost 20 mil, and give it all these prerequisites. For really no reason. It's just sort of, at that point, to me, that's just skill bloat. Like, it's really kind of useless. I don't see the reason. In a game 20 plus years old, I don't see a reason to have new skills when all they do is just change a passive stat on your ship. That's ridiculous, and it's not even a new gameplay feature or anything. It's a feature at least 10-15 years old. I remember when they did the big rig update, because back in the day rigs only used to be one size, and you'd fit the rigs to your ship. And then they made, massive rig update. Now there's small, medium, and large rigs, and all these new rig blueprints came out, and I bought a bunch, and all that sort of thing. And that was exciting at the time. It made the value of salvage spike really, really high, because that's what you use to make the rigs. But this, nah, this ain't it. I was actually excited for what they're gonna do with the armor to make armor competitive and balanced, but it really just sort of puts a downer on the whole change when it's like, I gotta go to Jita, gotta buy a skill book, gotta somehow fit this skill into my existing skill plan and prioritize it. How big of a deal? Like, come on, man, nah. So the spiel on this change is that we've heard concerns that shields are dominating and armor doesn't feel great for skirmishing. Now, they say they've heard concerns. These have been my opinions and concerns pretty much forever. So I'm coming from the perspective is my first character was a Mar. So primarily all of the ships I flew were armor. They're all very fat, they're all very slow, they all used a lot of cap, they were actually very skill intensive ships to try and get running at a competitive sort of performance for PvP. And then once I did all that, I realized that my Punisher was so much fatter and slower than the Merlins, than the Rifters and all this, that I was up against the T1 frigates as a new bro, that I was actually at a disadvantage. And that was, Chad, that was 17 years ago. So now that they're saying that they've heard concerns, I don't know, man. I think they've picked a to-do list from literally last century or something, and calling it new content. But anyway, I'll try not to be too critical here, but I thought this change was going to be good and it wouldn't be sort of annoying. So anyway. So to help address this, they go on to say, we're introducing a new advanced skill to shave off a bit more mass from armor plates, and changing the drawback on most armor rigs to be a penalty to agility instead of max velocity. Why does it say on most armor rigs? Why does it say most? Why doesn't it say on all, or just on armor rigs, or we're changing armor rigs? Why is it only some of them? See, I don't like this. I don't like this. The more I find out about it. So anyway, they go on to say this will still keep the original design intent and trade-off that exists with armor/shield rigs, and that they reduce some of your ability to mitigate damage in exchange for more tank. Well, that makes sense. Since losing turning speed and handling means you won't be able to orbit as tightly or get as high angular velocities before, but you now won't also be giving up range control anymore. So I mean, that's a thoughtful change from a combat pilot perspective. Angular velocity is king when it comes to damage application on turret boats, especially. But range control is like the queen of the fight. So if you don't have range control, most of the time you lose, or you just start at a disadvantage and you're sort of waiting for the other pilot to make a mistake that you can capitalize on to sort of either catch up or get ahead to win. That's sort of how it goes most of the time, just sort of at a high level. We hope that this will make armor more viable, especially at smaller scales, and help promote more ships that have fallen out of favor, such as armor hacks. Armor hacks gets some mention, hell yeah. Love me some armor hacks, but let's break this down. We hope it'll make it more viable, especially at smaller scales. Now, I'm a solo PvPer, I'm a micro gang PvPer, I'm a small gang PvPer. Like I said, I've specialized in armor tanked ships since my very first character. And I don't agree with, like, I like the intent. Sorry, I think my mic's moving too far. I like the intent that these guys are trying to make armor better, but I don't like the execution. It's like, oh, so now to be more competitive in small, like solo or small gang, this becomes mandatory, this new skill. Like, I have to train it now. Like, fuck everything else, I have to train this if I want to fly armor ships. That's it. Because otherwise, I'm just, you know, it's a game of inches, so I'm just nowhere near as good. And I honestly think that sucks. It's not giving me more to do in the game, it's not a new feature, it's not anything really exciting. It's just sort of this bland, dry, new skill requirement to meet their balance standards. And there's no, the thing of it is, there's no guarantee that it's going to make things any better. I mean, it sounds good, but as far as sort of in-game damage and, for example, a lot of people just throw out armor tanks on stuff so you get more mid-slots to play with and you've got way more utility. So just pulling something out of thin air, like doing an armor rupture, for example, that might make the ship way better, but we just don't know how much, because I've flown shield ruptures too, and they're pretty good. Like, because you can, the thing with the shield rupture, or shield anything, it gives you more lows, so you can sort of pack it out with nanos and overdrives and stuff like that, and ice stabs or whatever, to make it more agile, faster, and then that sort of offsets the sig bloom that shield modules give you. So that's sort of how the fitting has been up until today. So we'll see if the meta actually changes in regards to this. I don't honestly think it will. Also, my headset keeps slowly sliding off my head, so just bear with me, chat. Alright, next change. ESS. ESS changes. So a lot of null guys are going to like this. People who day trip with the yeet filaments are going to like that. That's me sometimes. So increase the range of players are unable to cloak in the main bank room from 150Ks to 500K. So that's massive. That's massive. Cutting down on some frustrating gameplay where snipers could enter and cloak in the site. Yep. And then be in position and decloak when a player enters ESS. So that's a good change. Cut, dry, simple, balanced gameplay change. I like it. I don't have to train a skill to make the cloak range larger. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyway. Next one is Marauders. So these are the Marauder nerfs. I'm going to call them nerfs. I think they are. So remove the micro jump drive reactivation cooldown roll bonus from all Marauders. So no longer can you like use your micro jump on cooldown and essentially travel more distance than a nano cruiser can in the same time. So it was that bad that like Vargas, you couldn't keep up with a Varga who was just hammering the micro jump on cooldown. Because you catch up and then they jump, and you almost catch up and then they jump ahead again, and you couldn't actually catch them. And they were meant to be a battleship, guys. So that was crazy for a while there. The Varga itself, what's it say here? Oh, the fall off bonus has now been reduced to 5% from 7.5. So that's a range reduction, weapons range reduction. And Marauders are just banned from ESS. They just can't even get in. They just added a ship restriction saying, Marauder, you're in a Marauder? Nope, can't get in anymore. So CCP say, I think that's a good change. I think these are great changes. These are some of the bigger ones for players that are actually going to change. This is actually meta changing, because this change itself has addressed the meta directly and broken it. Because up until today, or before the patch, you'd have cloaky Vargas that could hit at 150k, you'd have curses waiting in there. It was meta gamed out the ass. And so their CCP must have seen that the activity levels in the ESSs just fell off a cliff because of that. I wouldn't engage an ESS at all. I would tell people that do them all the time, like your Crash Napsers of the world, to not even bother, and he would actually agree because he's seen it happen, and same goes with everyone. So when people were like, oh, let's go rob an ESS, I'd usually be the guy going, no, it's not worth it, because it's just going to be a cloaky Varga and at least 1 or 2 curses in there, and we're just automatically dead. So why bother? So this is a fantastic change. Hopefully it livens up the ESS. I'll be interested to get out there at some point, filament out there, and see if I can do a robbery and see what people bring now instead of the Vargas. So CCP, they say here about this change, Marauders continue to be dominant and oppressive at smaller scales of PvP. Absolutely right. They could hit my Punishers at like 150, 200k. So a battleship being able to track and destroy a Tech 1 frigate, that's punching down a lot. Like, that's a huge amount of like coverage that they could sort of dominate. Anyway, Marauders currently have incredible damage that projects well. That is true. My main experience with Marauders is Paladins, and while they can't track quite as well as a Varga that's set up properly, they do pretty good. They could do pretty good. Marauders also have incredible tank and incredible mobility. So what they're saying here is, dude, these Marauders have just been overpowered for a while, and I think a lot of people will agree with that. They became what we call the flavor of the month, but I can't even remember how many months that has lasted. Certainly more than 3 off the top of my head. So yeah, a welcome change, this one. Right, so CCP saying they're making an adjustment here to rein them in a bit while solidifying their role as ships which trade mobility for outstanding defense and offense, making the Bastion module their core identity. And that's what it should have been from the start. The bonus to MJD really flew in the face of the Bastion module, because it's like you get all these bonuses if you sit still, but then at the same time you get this massive bonus to movement as well. So it's like, what? Anyway, yeah, I think it's a good change. We're making another small adjustment to the Varga because it is still an outlier. Okay, this set of changes should still keep them as Apex PVE and PvP ships, and the undisputed kings of firepower and defense, but allow for more space and timing windows when it comes to existing on grids, or when it comes to being on grids with them at range. Okay. Additionally, we're experimenting by blocking them from the ESS main bank room. This should hopefully lead to a more diverse meta for ESS engagements. I don't think that's a hopefully, I think that's a definitely. Because there was such a flavour of the month, people wouldn't even think. They just, well, ESS, okay, I'll just undock my Varga, click undock. There was no thought process between hearing ESS and what am I going to fly. It got that bad. And allow other battleship and battlecruiser hulls to shine. We'll be keeping an eye on this change to see if it leads to a healthier ecosystem overall. Yeah, I will be too. I'm hoping it's really good for the game. Because it sucks when CCP, they put all these features in and stuff for us to do as players, and then as players we metagame the shit out of it to the point where we can't even play that content they made anymore, you know, because we've sort of solved it. So this is great, yeah. Alright, so the Bastion module says here, armor repair and shield boost armor reduced from 100% to 60 while active. Wow, from 100 to 60. That is a huge nerf, dude. That makes me concerned for the PVE players that use Marauders all the time. Because they've already mathed the incoming damage for the content they're doing versus how much they have to rep for each encounter. So now this just throws that off by a 40% margin. It's a big nerf. Okay. And they added a new bonus, 20% reduction in cycle time and cap cost for armor repairers and shield boosters. In cycle time and cap cost. Oh, so that almost offsets this nerf directly above it. So they nerf the amount of reps you get while in Bastion, but then... Oh, because if you... Yeah, that's right. Yo, Bani in chat. Welcome in. 07C. We're just going through the patch notes. I'm just trying to get my head around the Bastion module changes. So before, if you didn't run a buffer and you were pure active and you ran drugs and you were max skilled and had all the boosters set up, you could actually repair almost your entire armor buffer in one cycle. A shield buffer in one cycle of your repper, which made it almost impossible to play because you could actually imagine your HP is just going up and down like a yo-yo. So that's probably why they've reduced the boost amount but increased like the cycle time. So it's the mini game for armor and shield reps is more manageable. This might actually make it easier. If you think about it. And yeah, there's a cap cost reduction as well, so that's sort of to offset the cycle time, because each cycle you will use cap, so... And that's for armor and shield. Alright, so this retains the current repair effectiveness over time values as now without increasing the capacitor cost per second. So CCP already did the math on this, so that's okay, that's reassuring. Currently, 102 repair effectiveness over time, okay. And there's a formula here. 2 repair, okay. We're doing this to help improve active armor marauders, which could sometimes end up repairing for most, even exceeding their maximum armor hit points when using Asclepion implants, Exile booster, Hardshell booster, and other implants, X-type reppers, and mutaplasmas, etc. So if you went full bling, full min-max, the game just sort of become unplayable because you were repping such a huge amount. So that limited how much you can effectively push them with ISK investment. It also made them require a much higher skill cap than shield marauders, since armor repairers rep at the end of the cycle, and they have a much longer cycle time, which it makes armor reps so much harder, so especially like in PvP, so much harder to use, in my opinion, for me. Making it difficult to gauge how much you should delay repping to not over rep or end up taking too much damage. Yeah, that's exactly right. So this is actually a buff. It looks like a nerf, these two things, but they're a buff. These are a buff to active armor reps while you're in Bastion, so it's easier to manage how much you're repping for. So that's a good change, I think. Pretty good. Where was I up to here? Yeah, here we go. This will make armor repairers easier to use, there it is, without over-repping on armor remorters, and limit them less when it comes to high-end fits that push the limits. So that's cool. Additionally, this change will help reduce the power of an Ancil shield booster marauders a little bit in PvP. We've heard a lot of frustration from the player base about multiple extra large and serially shield boosted shield fit marauders. Looking at you, Varga, yeah, that's the meta fit. Since they're both very cheap and they bypass the normal weakness that active tank marauder fits have against capacitor warfare. So what that means is, like, The Ansil shield boosters themselves are capless, they don't use any cap. Just throw some cap sticks in it and your ship capacitor remains untouched during the duration. With the Marauder, they have so much fitting allocation that you can fit multiple, say 3 of the largest, extra large Ansil shield boosters, and then when you're using them, you stagger the rep cycles when you turn them on, and then when they cycle through, you're just always boosting up to max shield, like for the entire fight. And anyone fighting one of these Marauders is just like, holy shit, like I have no chance in hell I'm going to break this guy's tank. It's just like, this is ridiculous. So that's sort of how they were flown. CCP said by moving some of the power of the Bastion module into cycle time, this specifically hurts Ansil shield booster fits since they mostly just want raw boost amount. Yeah, that's right. To get the most effectiveness out of each charge and clip rather than cycle time and the cap cost reduction. Yeah, that's right. So, because the Ansils bypass the cap use, the cycle time was kind of irrelevant. Like, you want it to be as fast as possible because it didn't use any cap for a start. Which gives you the biggest burst heal, like the biggest burst rep that you could possibly have. And people will be able to bait tank like that. You know, you just don't turn your reps on until you're in like 33% shield or a bit lower, and then hit it, and because shield's instant, it's just like boop, and you max shield again. Alright, so tactical destroyers. So they can now enter the main bank of the ESS. By giving tactical destroyers some more roaming utility by allowing them to enter the ESS site and change the meta up a bit. Like with Marauders, CCP are experimenting a little here to mix things up. We'll make changes if things end up going in an unhealthy direction, like with the Tenement Tech 3Ds becoming meta or becoming too hard to catch. Fair enough. And on top of that, it looks like they've made some changes to the Tech 3 destroyers. So for the Confessor, new defense mode bonus, 33% bonus to remote armor repair amount, and reduction in activation costs. Logi Confessor, remote rep Confessor, Spider Tank Confessor? Interesting. So that makes me immediately think about the fitting potential now of that ship, because that's actually one of my favorite Tech 3s. Being a Mar, being lasers. It didn't really fit into the, like, it's a bit outshined, to be honest, but for solo, I've killed heaps of stuff with the Confessor. It dominates frigates. I remember getting some real juicy kills when the Confessor first came out and I trained it up. Stuff like Garmas, real blinged out Daredevils and stuff, they're just flying straight at me, not realizing that I track so well in sharpshooter mode. And I'm just like sniping this tackle with the Confessor. It was sick. Sick. And it was fast enough that I wouldn't get scrammed straight away either, so I could kill a couple of frigates. But anyway, I digress. Damage per level of tactical destroyer increased. Ooh, just a massive flat damage bonus from 5% to 7.5. Hell yeah! And max velocity is increased. So that's your base velocity from 230 to 250 ms. So that's cool. And the Sipple got a couple of changes, so they have a new defense mode bonus, which is the same as the Confessor, just for shields, which is a 33% bonus to remote shield booster amount and reduction in activation cost. The damage per level of a tactical destroyer again increased from 5 to 7.5, so the same as Confessor, and a max velocity bump as well from 220 to 240. So similar changes for both. So CCP says both the Confessor and the Sipple are suffering a bit. The Confessor has a bit too much overlap with the Retri right now, which has significantly better mitigation while also having high damage with range bonus. While the Confessor's only strength over the Retri is the probe launcher utility, that's your utility high slot, and the added damage and E-war resistance in sharpshooter mode. The Sipple also has struggled with other new ships entering the game, like the Thrasher Fleet, and buffs to the Stabber, Navy cruisers, and medium autocannons. So, I guess because my... how can I say? I think within this niche of the game, my knowledge is aged, because my knowledge is sort of, yeah, well, Isotope, welcome in. We're just going through the patch notes. My knowledge of the Tech 3 destroyers is mainly from when they first came out. I was using them all heavily, and then I sort of fell off, took a break from the game, so I understand new stuff has come in, but it sounds like there's been some power creep happening with the newer ships and modules and that sort of stuff, which sort of made Tech 3 destroyers sort of fall by the wayside. fall by the wayside a little bit. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my mic nice and loud for you guys. There we go. Yeah, so CCP going to say the He-Cat and the Jackdaw are doing well right now, and some of the most used ships in the game. Wow. So we're giving both the Confessor and the Sipple a bit more base damage and speed to hopefully make them stand out a bit more. I think that's great, yeah. We're also adding remote armor / shield booster bonus to them in defensive mode to give them some more utility to potentially open up some spider tanking fleet options. That's the first thing I said. In PvP and PvE to give them more versatility over other assault frigates and destroyers, and to highlight their additional utility high slot over the He-Cat, Hakate, and the Jackdaw. Oh, and it goes on, man. This is a big patch. This big patch, chat. Settle in. Ferox Navy Issue. So, medium hybrid damage per level bonus reduced. So it got nerfed 2.5% from 10 to 7.5. Medium hybrid tracking reduced from 7.5 to 5. So a couple of big nerfs straight out the gate. Power grid reduced to 1150. Same as regular Ferox. Damn. Okay. CPU reduced as well to the same as a regular Ferox. So it lost all of its fitting bonuses. Okay. And reduction in shield boost to power and CPU requirements per level bonus improved from 7.5 to 10. My hot take on this, and that's really heavy-handed, that's like a sledgehammer approach to the Ferox Navy. Like, I know it's a really, really strong ship, but I think that might have just nerfed it into irrelevance, to be honest. But we'll see what the CCP has to say. We're making some adjustments specifically to the Ferox Navy to address its dominance in the fleet meta. Makes sense. Specifically, we're reducing the damage tracking and reducing the power grid CPU that it has, setting it back to the same values that the regular Tech 1 Ferox has. So this should still mean it's viable, but make it harder to fit a 5-6 slot tank and DLA with railguns without fitting modules. I mean, okay, yeah, I guess when I fitted up a Ferox Navy I had no issues whatsoever. I just clicked all the modules I wanted and they all fit, and I'm like, oh, well that was easy. So yeah, I actually didn't have to think about fitting one. So at the same time we're improving the shield booster fitting bonus that it has, which should compensate active tanking fits with a fitting reduction to make up for the loss of base power grid and CPU. So that's only really something that small gangs, micro gangs, are going to give a shit about, because the Ferox Navy was used as a massive shield buffer fit basically, and then Logi could come in your fleets and provide shield reps. It was easy mode, it really was. Probably too easy. So additionally, we know the concerns about the dominance of other railgun ships that may simply replace the FNI as a top meta railgun ship, with those being the Vulture, the T1 Ferox, the Naga, and the Rook. So we're going to make some adjustments to all railguns. So this is for medium and for large railguns. So the Naga is caught up in these changes, which I mean, I'm a bit sad. Naga's my favorite sniper in the whole game. And then it got a range nerf, chat. Optimal and fall off reduced by 10%. Now with the Naga specifically, it could already shoot out to like 250 Ks or something crazy with my fit. So we'll see if it can shoot to 150, it'll still be an effective sniper, so we'll have to see. And the tracking reduced by 10%, so that's huge. So back in the days, chat, before railguns were, I'll say, viable, when I came back to the game, I didn't even have either of these trained at all to use, and here's why. Railguns were trash, chat. Railguns used to have the worst tracking. Like, artillery used to track better than railguns. So all of my fits all had artillery. I had artillery tornado, you know, artillery hurricane, all that stuff. That was the meta way back. And then when I came back, I'm like, oh shit, railguns are good. So I injected these, and I had a great time with them. But I guess that time's over now, chat. So we'll have to see. It makes me a bit sad because the medium railguns fit a nice niche. Like a rail Deimos is always fun and stuff like that. So it's not just these meta ships that are going to suffer. It's every Galente ship that uses these guns. So oh well, we'll have to see how that shakes out. So CCP says that railguns are dominating at all sizes, so we're going to reduce the tracking and optimal fall off slightly for medium and large rails. Medium rails have been very strong for a very long time now. Oh, there it is. Well, I've been away from the game, so they would know. While large railguns have recently taken the top spot since the Viridian expansion, where we gave a significant buff to the Rogue and made the following change to large railguns. Oh, they gave a 15% bonus to tracking rate of fire. That would do it. That's huge. It's like they won't take a minor approach to a balance. It's 15%. Don't give them 2% bonus, give them 15. Like, that's huge in EVE. That's massive. So this will mean that most of the tracking speed bonus for large railguns got rolled back, maintaining about 3.5% of it, but they'll keep the rate of fire bonus they received. We hope this will mean that large rails will land in a good spot between being super dominant and pre-Viridian, which were considered weak, which is I think where I was coming from because of my age knowledge, because I took that break. We'll continue to keep a close eye on the Vulture, Ferox Navy Issue, Rogue and Naga after the set of changes, and make further adjustments in the upcoming expansion if needed, if they continue to dominate or end up too weak. So let's just pause for a sec. I'm going to jump in game just to see if my Naga is in station. It's not. Let's just see where my Naga is. I could probably just simulate the fit, couldn't I? I probably could. Hang on. Let's see if I can just pull my sniper Naga out just real quick. Holes and fits. Naga, that's the one there. So we'll go simulate charges. We'll just throw. What was I using? Spike. Yeah, that's right. So what's the range? Oh, hang on. I have to add scripts. So optimal range scripts and targeting range. What's the targeting range on it? 150. We'll just see how far it shoots out now. Well, it still says it shoots out to optimal 269 kilometers. I don't have the tracking numbers from the previous patch, unless it's still in Python, because I haven't updated Python yet. Cobra says I was looking at the Naga just this morning. Yeah, so it's got a nerf, but it's not just the Naga that's got nerfed, it's the whole weapons platform. So it's everything that can fit large rails, and everything that can fit medium rails. And I'm looking at my sniper fit now, and it still seems good. Can we tweak the scripts in these? So because these has tracking speed as well, so if we remove charge, add a tracking speed charge. Changes all of them. That's annoying. What's the range drop down to? It's still 200 with all tracking. The lock range is 150. Shoots to 237, so load targeting range scripts. Suddenly it locks at 230. We're still doing 500 DPS at 200 kilometers, chat. So I'm happy with that. I don't know about the tracking. I can't remember the tracking numbers. It says it's 0.6. I don't think it was that bad before, but I'm not going to really know until I get out in the field with one. So we'll grab one. Let me click buy while I'm going through the patch notes. We'll just see how it holds up. Alright, so now it looks like we're into capitals. So the Naglfar has got a bonus mid slot. Oh, and it lost to low slot. Okay. And the Naglfar Fleet Issue got a bonus mid slot and also lost to low slot. So CCP says about these changes that improving the shield tank effectiveness of the Naglfar line by improving the number of mid slots they have available at the cost of a low slot. This should mean the Nag can take advantage of the shield booster bonus a bit more effectively in high angle weapon setups, that is, setups that are designed to kill subcaps. Not something I really agree with at a high level, just saying, but that's part of the game now. And open the door for stronger shield based anti-capital turret dreadnoughts. While we do think we are trading some of the unique versatility of the Nag hull here, the dreadnought meta has been heavily dominated by Revelations for the last half a decade, and the Phoenix. That the tier 1 Nag now shares the slot layout with. Alright, a missile base, so we feel comfortable making this change. I can't really speak to this, to be honest. I've never flown Nags. I am a master, so I naturally trained into Revelations and Navy Revelations. I have and fly Navy Revelations. I basically asked when I came back to the game if they're still good. I got told, yep, Revs are still great, like Alliances still use Revs, so just grab one, so I did. Didn't really think beyond that. So any sort of balancing, looking to make the other ones better, I think is a good thing to have more variety. Sure, it could be an issue if it becomes that good that the Rev's not worth using anymore, because a lot of players like me, for example, will have to go and train into the Nag. But I'm fine with that because it gives me more options. See, it's not like a forced thing. It's just like, oh, now the Nag's viable, so maybe you can buy one of them and try a missile, because I've never flown a missile dreadnought. So that'd be cool, you know. Anyway, yeah, shopping is very slow for Australian players. Yeah, looks like it's still going, is it? Oh no, it's fixed. Oh, Nagas are only 99 mil, dude. Do I have enough ammo? Hang on, let me just check the ammo. Why do I only have 320 spike in this fit? Oh, whatever, just buy it. Figure it out in a minute. Alright, new sniper. Hell yeah, dude. This is my fit. Like, it's not something I got from someone else. It's a homebrew, so it might be slightly different to what you're used to seeing. The rigs, I run low friction nozzle joint and a polycarb to help it turn. And this mid slot here is actually utility. I can swap this out for a MJD depending on what I'm doing. I've actually found the MJD is more fun, like more effective. But yeah, and you can see the changes to the bonuses here. 5% bonus to damage, 10% bonus to range, down from 10 and 15. But still seems to do good on paper damage at least, so we'll see. Let me just grab some more ammo for it if I have some. What was it? Spike. Spike L. Oh yeah, got some there, throw it in. That's the wrong ship. Whoops. Throw it out. Change ship. Alright. Here it is, boys. And where was it? Spike. Oh, there it is. Throw that in there. Make sure I've got some loaded in the guns. I do not. Group all weapons. Throw them in there. Now, how do we have it set up? Yeah, all tracking and all range. Yeah, sick. Oh, and I'll take an MJD. Let's go simulate again. I think it was a large, or maybe it was a medium. Let me search. Modules, mid slots, jump drive. Yeah, medium I think was what fitted. Yeah, we'll grab one of these. Just see if I have one. Modules, search for jump drive. I do not. Alright, market details. Let's grab one. I think I'll run this with the micro jump drive instead of the MWD. I found it, from memory, I found it more fun, and also I was able to sort of, how do I say, position myself a bit more effectively, and it gave me a easier way to escape as well. The micro warp just wasn't fast enough to like run away from stuff. It was easy just to instantly get that 100k gap in the line and warp, because as you can see, if I turn the prop mod off, this aligns in 6 seconds, so it's not the fastest ship in the world. But yeah, do I have any skins for the Naga? Let's have a look. Info, skins. I do not. Yeah, is there any good ones? Kaldari Union Day. Well, that looks kind of sick. Is that like a million-esque? Million billion? 400 mil. Should I buy that one, chat? Looks alright. What's this one? It's just a blue one. What's this? Ghost Bird. Oh, that looks kind of cool. Oh, I like that one. How much is that one? Oh, you can't buy it. Womp womp. You find a cool skin, then you can't buy it, man. It really sucks. Oh, this one's cool as well. Ship's got heaps of good skins. 5 bill! Oh, look at that one. Is that 100 million or 100 billion? Hold up. Cancel. I might grab this one. Looks kind of reasonable. Oh, that's a sick pattern. Look at that on the side. Oh, earthy tone. What else is there? Already looked at that one. Rata. Oh, look at the red on. The red looks really good. Man, this ship is so like generic looking that all of the skins look good on it, because it's just like very rectangular, you know what I mean? So it really shows off the actual skin designs, because there's no like angles or patterns or textures getting away. God, they're all like so expensive. Don't actually like that one. That's a bit bland. How much is it? It's 1.5 bill. Okay. Oh, that's like a army sort of one. Khaki at 2 bill. Holy crap. Okay. Chill, guys. Just chill. War for the state. Oh, look at that, dude. That's sick. Look at that. How much is that one? Can't buy it. Oh, sad. And that one's kind of boring. 24 mil, yeah, of course. Oh, I like that. That's like one of my favorite colors. Is that one cheap? No, I can't buy it. Alright, I guess I'll get the Luminan Zenith, maybe? Will I? Well, how much were these ones? It was 500 mil. I mean, that's kind of cool, man. Yeah, the Naga looks sick, dude. All of these skins look great. I might just pick something that's not too expensive. What's that? 400 mil, and that one's 500 mil. Jesus Christ. Maybe just this one then. Just grab the green one. I don't have a lot of green skins. I do have a few blue ones, so we'll grab this. Well, it's cheap, 170 mil. We call that cheap, chat. Call that cheap. Where'd it go? What's it called? Naga. Here we go. Activate and apply. Hell yeah. Now we're cooking, chat. Look at that. Oh, hell yeah, dude. That's my favorite sniper platform. Oh, I'm in the way. Hang on. There it is. There it is there. I didn't realize I was in the way, chat. Green one looks nice still, yeah. Big sniper rolling in, hell yeah, dude. Look at the turrets on it, man. Look, the rails are humongous hanging off the side of them. And they're like a different color to the hull on this skin, so they really pop. They pop off the side of them. That's cool. Anyway, I'm actually gonna give me like 2 minutes, chat. This coffee I made at the start of the stream, it's actually gone cold. So I'm just gonna reheat the coffee in the microwave because look, we've still got like half a cup. So let me go and do that, and I'll be back and we'll continue with the patch notes. Here we go. Alright, give me 2 seconds. I'll be back. Where's the button? That one? That one? No, this one. I'll just leave it on the Naga screen so you guys can admire it. I'll be back. Alright, I'm back. Looks like we've got an ad break coming up in 45 seconds, so get out your subs, guys. Subscribe to your boy. Subscribe to me. It's your boy Cyber Nomad, please. You actually last month, guys, not gonna lie, you helped keep the lights on here. It was pretty rough going, so appreciate any subs this month. To avoid ads, you get emotes, you get to hang out with me more, I'll give you sub bonuses in with Discord. I'll call you extremely handsome and attractive for at least an hour, so hopefully that's enticing. But if not, ads coming up 15 minutes, and then after we return from the ads, we have a song request. So we'll get that organised for you guys. I think the ads are 2 minutes, so we'll see you all in a couple of minutes.
Oh dude, I just got some loot. Got an epic. Epic Senpai survival gloves. Oh, hell yeah. Alright, the ad break's over, so we're back. We are back, chat. We are back. Here I am. Here I am. So, first things first, redeeming the song request. This one goes out to Cobroy. Let's give it a little bit of volume. There we go. Let's go. Tell me if this is a wrong one, by the way. Space Cowboy, hell yeah. Great request, dude. Alright, that was... what was that? That was something. That was Cobre's song request. There it is. That wasn't bad. I've heard a lot worse. Let's put it that way. Anyway, where are we up to here? I can't remember which song. One of these ones. Let's turn it down a bit. Alright, back to these patch notes, chat. It's going to take us 10 hours just to get through them, it feels like. Alright, now what scene were we on? I think we're over here. Here we go. It cuts off a little bit, but I'll read it out. So up to the Sin. Yeah, you've got loot, Cobre, man. You got to equip that. You got to equip that, man, so we can do bosses better. So there's a change to the Sin. Multiple changes. The Sin is your Black Ops. It's your Galente Black Ops battleship. So it's your Dominic's looking one. It's the potato. I'll bring it up in game just for you guys following along at home. This is currently a favorite of Lord Badman Larry when he does his Black Ops Conduit, whatever you call it, like hooks and stuff. But this is it here. This is the Sin. It is Black Ops. It is a battleship. It is fat. And this is how you fit it. That's what it looks like. So, going back to the patch notes. They removed a 10% bonus to logistic drone transfer amount per level. Just make sure that's coming through good. Alright, added a 10%, I'll read that again. So they removed 10% bonus to logistic drone transfer amount per level. I don't think anyone really cares. Logistic drones aren't really that good unless you're actually flying a Logi. So that, to me, that's just like whatever. Added 10% bonus to warp scram range per level and a +1 bonus to scram strength per level. These only apply to warp scrams and not to warp disruptors. That's a good change. I mean, having a combat Sin, like a Sin in the combat field, actually doing the combat instead of just utility is a pretty big risk to field something like that, especially giving it tackle duties and stuff like that. So I would say that's sort of niche, but sort of the smaller the Black Ops gangs are, the higher the likelihood that someone would put a scram on one of these. Like, for example, my Redeemer, I have one fit that does have tackle, so it has a long range point, but I have two other fits that don't have any tackle at all. They're just actually long range damage support once you get dropped in on your target. So someone else usually has tackle duties, but yeah. So the reasoning behind this, CCP says, the Sin is actually the least used Black Ops. There you go. And the logistic drone transferring our bonus is fairly weak. Okay. We're replacing this with a 10% bonus to range of warp scrams, and then a +1 to strength per level to warp scramblers. This bonus should be a lot more desirable and make more sense for the role of Black Ops. We hope this bonus will improve the Sin's utility and drops by making it more powerful at holding targets, and give it a niche in super hunting with extra point strength. Yeah, that's cool. That's almost giving it like a different role potential. So I love that. I don't know how effective it would be. You'd have to sort of... I've never really theory crafted Sin as far as tanking goes, because if you're inside scram range, then you're going to be taking a lot of damage. But yeah, for tackling supers, that'd be kind of cool, man. That'd be kind of crazy cool. So there it is. The next one, the Apocalypse, which is your Tech 1 Armad battleship. Let me just bring it up for those following along at home. This is the first battleship I ever flew. Next to the Armageddon, it was this one in the Armageddon. I settled on flying this one. Apparently I can't spell Apocalypse, so it won't come up. Hang on. Apocal... Yep, sir. There it is. So it's this bad boy here. And we'll see what changes they've made to it. So they removed the tracking bonus. Okay, big nerf straight out the gate. Large energy turret optimal range bonus is now improved. Okay, so they got rid of all the tracking and they gave it extra range, extra 2.5% per level. Added a damage per level, so added 5% energy turret damage per level. Added 10% reduction in cap cost per level. I don't like removing the tracking bonus. The tracking bonus is one of the things that made the Apocalypse unique amongst the battleships, because it could shoot long range and also have tracking, so it was basically a sniper battleship platform. Anyway, and the Navy Issue version removes the tracking bonus as well. Same range bonus from 7.5 to 10% per level. Same damage, larger damage bonus of 7.5 damage per level. And it added the same cap cost reduction. So reworking the Apocalypse, says ECP, there's a lot of competition for larger energy turret ships with the APOC Navy, Abaddon, Nightmare, Balgorn, Armageddon Navy Issue, and of course the Oracle. So they all fight for the same space. I don't really agree with that assessment. I think you can split those down more granularly, and they have separate roles. They use the same weapons platform, yes, but they do fill separate niche roles depending on the fleet and the use case. I never would think that an Oracle would be competing with a Balgorn, for example, for the same spot in the fleet. I think that's just insane to even say that. But again, I'll try not to be too critical. That's just what CCP think. And then they go on to say, currently the APOC feels weak due to a lack of a damage bonus, while the tracking bonus doesn't feel particularly strong because a lot of other laser ships are better in applying damage in practice, such as a Balgorn with webs of the Newt, a Nightmare with superior mobility and the same tracking bonus, and a Geddon Navy Issue, range newts can fit rapid heavies and bonus drones, and the Oracle's superior mobility allowing it to get better tracking through managing transversal. I mean, it's still nice to have the tracking bonus. There's no reason to just remove it. Like, if it feels weak, why just remove it? Why not make it stronger? Do you know what I mean? I don't know about the rationale behind this. They're just like, oh, the tracking feels weak, so let's just remove the tracking bonus and make it worse? Whatever. Anyway. Yeah, this is a rework, so we'll see what they go on to say. The unique selling point of the APOC is the optimal range bonus. However, the damage is still underwhelming. The aim here we go. The aim here, they could have led with this. The aim here is to move the Apocalypse more towards a sniper attack role, focusing more on ranged damage. Yeah, but we have to apply the damage, and that's why the tracking was so attractive. Anyway, so removing the tracking bonus of the APOC while giving it more damage, giving it a cap reduction for lasers so it doesn't hurt as much running an MWD. Well, you're not going to be running an MWD while shooting if you're sniping. You're going to be having an MJD. but okay. And then improving the optimal range bonus slightly. Okay, we feel this selection makes the APOC stand out more in the lineup of Armada battleships. Well, I don't know about that. Let's just have a quick. I'm just interested. A lot of people sleep on the APOC. It's been like a Cyber Nomad favorite for many years. So let me just look up this ship on the market and just see if the price has fluctuated with these changes. Because this can hint sort of like a positive or negative trend. So if we just go to price history, currently it's 240 mil. Oh, it's fallen off a bit of a cliff, look, and then it sort of bounced back a bit. When was that? Oh, that was way back in April. And it sort of bounced back, and it's sort of flying up. It's trending way up here since this patch was sort of known about mid-August. Last few weeks, it's trending upwards. So I wonder if it's worth buying one. Maybe we should do a quick fit. Shall we do... Let's just do a quick fit. Like a quick simulate. Let's just do a sneaky fit. Hold on. Let's just do a cheeky little fit. I almost know how to fit these from memory, to be honest. It was... Was it Megapulse or Gigapulse? So I fit it with Pulse. A lot of people go beam. Let's go beams, actually. Let's go Mega Beam. Is it Mega Beam? I think it was these. I usually do it in Python. Full rack of Mega Beams, baby. Hell yeah, dude. Let's just show info on these to make sure I'm fitting the right ones. Mega Beam. Can I go to like large beam category? No. Damn. Alright, we'll go with this, whatever. And then if we're sniping, we want like sensor boosters and stuff, so we'll just put like sensor. Just throw a couple of these. Actually, we'll put one. We'll put large micro jump, and we'll put a couple of tracking computers in the mids, and the lows. What's the align time on it? 10 seconds. So what's that? 10 seconds is afterburner is 7.5, but we're not running one of those. So to get it, I wonder if we just put an ice stab on it. We want heat sinks though for sure on the lows. At least a few of those. Up the damage. It's got a lot of low slots, chat. Let's throw 2 nanos and maybe an ice stab on it. What's that down to? 8-second align inertia. Down to a 7-second. What else can we put? Maybe just a damage control or something like that. You don't usually worry about tank too much on a why wouldn't it fit? Why didn't it show up? Oh, I can't spell damage. You don't usually worry about tank too much on a sniper. You want speed and damage. And we'll go to locust rigs. Locusts are the optimal range rigs, so we want large energy locusts. Just how many of those can we fit? 2 of those. What else do we want? Oh, it's over on power grid now. 2%. Alright, delete that. What else can we put? Cap? Maybe cap? What's a lock range? Hold on. Good charges. It's loaded with ammo. So I usually use standard for sniping with beams. So it's shooting out to about 150. It's 146 fall off. And it locks at 142, so we'll put the targeting range script on it. Now it's 175 lock range, and we'll just throw some... we'll probably throw tracking speed actually, because it already shoots out pretty far. Yo. I've got 2 more rigs to put on there. But without those even fitted, we're doing 450 DPS. Which is still less than a Naga at less range. But with that said, we can swap the scripts out to optimal range scripts, and we're suddenly punching out to 165. So I mean that's pretty good. And to be honest, once you get out past 150 Ks, and you're shooting in EVE, and you're sniping, the tracking matters a lot less. So the further you can push out your optimal range, the less the tracking on the turret actually matters. Because it gets out to like such a long range that you're going to hit most things anyway, unless they're flying like perpendicular across your orientation at speed. Because that's the highest angular But if they start to turn or something like that, the angular goes way down, and you'll get easier shots on target. So the further you are away from that target, the less the target moving actually matters that much, I guess you could say, to an extent. So I want to buy one. I want to try these. I wish there was like Sissy or so, like a test server I could go on and try these out. Because this could be the return of the sniper battleship. I mean, it's got a similar align time to a Naga now. I've got it down to like 7, and I could put more. I could put like 2. Let's try like 2 eye stabs instead of 1. 6.5. What about triple? That's still 6. All right. Well, we could put low friction in the rigs. Hang on. Was it low friction? What does that do for me? 6.99. What if I turn this off? Still the same. What about these? 6.3. Can I get it under 6? I can. 5.99. So you can get it to a 6-second align, and that's still with 3 damage mods. So that's still a healthy amount of damage. Still got 50,000 EHP just with the damage control. So you're not going to get alphaed, unless you get alphaed by multiple ships. But being so far out, because you can target up to 175 k's out, it's a pretty healthy distance. Especially with a 6-second align, it would let you turn around MJD and warp out pretty timely, to be honest. Obviously, with these ships, your biggest threat is a high-speed interceptor, so something like a Malediction or Stiletto, just like screaming at you at like 10k a second or more, like fully juiced and ready to tackle you. They're the biggest threats to these ships, so that's why you always have to either stay aligned or be pretty close to staying aligned, or be mindful of your MJD cooldown and plan accordingly. There is a drone bay too, 50 megabit. So we can't really run sentry drones on this, can we? What are the sentries? Wardens, are they? Even though they got nerfed as well. Are these the good ones? Which ones are the sniper sentry drones? Chat, I forgot. It was either these or something. How many of these can we field? Like 2. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Range within 120k is optimal within 75. Yeah, so they're sniper sentries. So you could basically warp at 100, drop sentries, MJD out to 200, and then start finessing your shots, basically like moving into weapons range and stuff. I would like to push this out further, to be honest. I would like to have like, I don't know, maybe another locust rig, or maybe another tracking computer or something. The thing is, we can't sacrifice the targeting range. That's really important. You want your targeting range to be further than your weapons range, ideally, so you can lock something and prepare to shoot instead of just locking and having to shoot straight away. Ideally, that's just how I play. But that's cool. I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that as like testing sniper APOC. Might give that a whirl at some point in future. But that's a real quick fit, chat. Let's go back to the patch notes. Alright. So I read all that, yeah. So we're up to the Maelstrom now. So the high slots have been nerfed from 8 to 7. Turrets reduced from 8 to 6. Mid slots increased from 6 to 7. Okay, it's more utility. Remove the 5% bonus to rate of fire per level. That's a massive nerf. Added 10% bonus to damage per level. Okay, so that's to compensate for that. The power grid got heavily reduced as well. Okay. Reworking the Maelstrom to be a shield mirror of the Hyperion. Okay. This should help make it much more viable as a small gang brawler and PvE platform with extra utility high and extra mid slot, while also making it more attractive in fleets by being a bit easy to fit with pure artillery and increasing the alpha strike capability slightly at the cost of some DPS. I like that. I like the sound of that. We hope this will make it stand out a bit more from other Myrmidon projectile ships like the Tempest fleet by leading it more towards an alpha strike damage and less towards rate of fire in fleets as an alternative option, making it more viable as a counterpart to the Rogue. To be honest, it sounds like they're trying to homogenize the ships and make them more like other ships instead of just being different. It's okay to be different. like to have a different thing. Just trying to make them be the same, like trying to make the Maelstrom just be the same as the Hyperion. That's not, I don't find that very exciting or enticing at all. I mean, we already have the Hyperion, and just fly that. Anyway, Megathron Navy Issue. It almost makes the sound like the Maelstrom's just going to be like a flavor choice between a Hyperion or a Maelstrom, depending if you want shields or armor. Yeah. Megathron Navy got a tracking bonus improvement from 7.5 to 10% per level. Added 15% reduction in armor plate mass penalty. Oh, by the way, with the Maelstrom, I don't think I've ever flown one. I might have flown a Tech 1 variant of it way back, so I don't really have any opinions on it, to be honest, other than what I've said. Megathron, so added maximum velocity improved from 130 to 135, so got a base speed increase. It got a massive reduction in armor plate mass penalty per level, and a tracking increase, so we've got a big buff, giving some extra tracking to the Megathron Navy to compensate it for the adjustment to the large rails, right? Which will also mean a direct improvement to it with blasters fitted. Well, that's good. Blaster Mega is super fun. Also adding a small speed boost and armor plate mass reduction to the Mega Navy to improve it for nano/skirmish armor fleets, since bonuses worked well on other ships like the Neros, the Eris, the Cat Navy, and the Exec Navy. Alright, well that's cool. I love the Megathron, its silhouette, like it's iconic, it's been used for many years. Why can't I close that anymore? Maybe my game's crashed. It's been used for many years as a part of the CCP's advertisements, promotions. We'll just see if we can do a search here. Is this... Oh, it's fixed now. Okay. Megathron Navy, there it is. Let's bring that up. Well, something's going on. It's not loading the ship model now. Hold up. See if I can find it here. Megatron. Search the market. Navy Issue. There it is. Oh, here we go. Might have the settings turned off on the other one. Yeah, it's a beautiful looking ship, dude. I always love the look of it. To me, almost when I think of Eve, I almost think of this ship. Just because it's been featured so heavily in the promotions and on community websites and stuff like that. I've barely ever flown it, if I'm going to be 100% honest, but I've flown with a lot of friends who have, and it's always cool to see a Mega on grid, dude. Of any variety, dude. Even the, what's the specialist one? Is like is it the Vindicator or something like that? Hold up. There's like a faction version. Vindicator might be. Yeah, it was. The Vindies are cool. They used to be cool. I don't know if they're cool anymore. They used to be such a cool ship. Look at that, dude. Look at that. Can I make that bigger? Oh, hell yeah, dude. So yeah, the Vindy's got the web bonus, 10% to web effectiveness per level. That's cool. Yeah, that's probably, out of all the Megathron hulls, this is probably my favourite one, if I'm being honest. How much are these things these days? Let me just price check them. Oh, 1.2 bill, just for the hull. Okay, a little bit expensive. Alright. Still very cool ship. Alright, back to the patch notes. Cenotaph. Alright, we all know what the Cenotaph is, so I don't have to show you guys. It's been pretty hyped ever since its release. Here's my one. I love it. I love the Ceno. I think it's fantastic, dude. It reminds me of a pod racer. Yeah, it is a little bit like a pod racer, isn't it? With the two front parts. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, but this is my Ceno. I love it. It's fantastic. Where's the, here we go. It's a better view of it. I trained into it last patch. I flew it in PVE, I flew it in PvP, and my assessment of it that it's super strong, really good ship, so it's probably gotten nerfed. Let's have a look. Alright, so yeah, so sensor strength is reduced. Armor hit points reduced. Structure hit points improved. Okay. Low slots have been reduced. Let me check my fit. I'll have to refit it. Oh yeah, I can't fit the plate anymore. Look. Look, my armor plate's red. Womp womp. Oh well. It was fun while it lasted, chat. Roll bonus to medium projectile and heavy assault missile damage improved. Okay, so I've got a 25% bonus damage to its, I want to say its secondary weapons. Because my Ceno has 3 weapon types. It's got the breacher pod, the projectile turrets, and the missiles. But the breacher pod is where you get most of its damage from. Got a max velocity increase as well, and agility improvement as well. Okay. And the Talos just got its sensor strength reduced, halved actually, which is the destroyer variant, which if you've seen me on previous streams, you'll see me hunting in one of those. It's one of my favourite solo hunting ships nowadays. Alright, so CCP says about these changes that we're hearing about the complaints of the Cenotaph's strength from wormholers and to a lesser extent other areas of space where very expensive, high resistance ships are used at very close range around fixed locations, and where Cenotaphs can survive even with 3-slot armor tank setups. In this environment, things like range and speed don't matter as much. We're making a set of adjustments to the Cenotaph to try and retain its strength in other areas of space where it's not as dominant, while also adding more meaningful counterplay options to the Deathless ships as a whole. Okay. We're nerfing the Deathless ship's sensor strength to be the weakest racially. The Cenotaph is now -1 compared to the Cyclone. Talos is now 1 less than the Thrasher. So this makes ECM a very effective counter against them, especially in wormhole environments where the very close range missiles are not as much as especially in wormhole environments where the very close range missiles are not at as much of a disadvantage as they are in other areas of space. This should hopefully allow wormholers to counter them a lot more reliably with ECM ships, while preserving a lot of their strength in other environments, where it is very difficult to ever get close to the maximum potential paper DPS output. ECM is also not very punishing in situations where you only have a dot on 1 or 2 targets, since as long as you get a lock every 75 seconds, then you can keep up the damage. But ECM is very effective at lowering the total DPS across the whole field, since even a 25% chance to jam results in dropping the number of pods spread in optimal scenarios from 7 to 5. I've got a few opinions about this without even going any further. I don't like ECM. I think ECM is garbage. I would delete target jamming from the game entirely, probably if I could. Here's why. It stops players from playing the game. Like, I played through the Falcon era, where every single fleet had a Falcon that could just sit at like 100+ kilometers and jam entire fleets. Then they reworked the Falcons and the other ECM ships so that the only thing that you can lock when you're jammed is the ship that's jamming you, so you could try and remove it from the field, and that was meant to be the counterplay. Which it really isn't, because it's forcing the player to, it's like removing options from the player. So once you've jammed a ship, the only thing you can do is shoot the thing that's jammed, and that's really, like, 99% of the time, that's not what you want to do. You want to be killing the tackle, you want to be, like, locking up as Lodge, you want to be locking up and repairing your friendlies, you kind of want to be doing anything but that. So it went from being a totally overpowered broken mechanic to a completely annoying hindrance to actually having a good fight. And I'm a strong believer in that if you bring a Falcon or any other ECM ship, even a Kitsune, to a fight, you don't want a good fight. It's almost like a griefing ship, the ECM, the way that it works. Because you can be really excited for, like, oh, if I fly a new fit, like I've got a new, in a scenario I've got a new homebrew fit, I want to try it out, I take it out, I'm having a cool, like, 2v1, I usually always fight outnumbered, so I'm having a 2v1, 3v1, having a great time, and then bam, someone warps in a Kitsune or a Falcon or something like that. At that point I may as well just uninstall the game, stop playing. You know, because I'm just going to get jammed, it's taken my attention away from the fight, now the only thing I can do is shoot the ship that's jamming me. I basically have lost the fight at that point anyway, because any time taken away from me doing damage to the target that I want to do is putting me behind in the fight to start with. It gets less effective as you scale up in fleet size, so ECM has a much lower impact in larger fleets, so I understand that. but not everyone flies in large fleets all the time, guys. A lot of people like solo, micro, small gang, mid-sized gang, stuff like that, where if you bring, you know, 2-3 jamming ships, you're sort of just griefing the other players who are trying to fight you. That's just what I think. That's what I think. So anyway, we're going to say, additionally, we're shifting some hit points from armor away into structure to make armor tank Cenos more vulnerable, and taking away a low slot, which should make heavy armor Cenos much less viable, which was how I was fitted. I had the 3-slot armor tank with all of the mids dedicated to utility, like I had, look, tracking, web, scram, frickin' missile guidance and stuff, just for damage application, and I had a big armor slots now, so that's totally stuffed, so that's okay. To compensate for the loss of low slot and buff it in situations where it isn't using the low slots for tank, we're improving the damage roll bonus and also giving it some extra speed and agility to partially compensate for the potential loss of modules such as nanos and gyros or ballistic controls. I think that's a major nerf to the Cenotaph, in my opinion. I know it was kind of busted. Yo, Jagan, welcome in, man. Welcome to the stream. We're just covering off the patch notes for this massive patch today, and just going through the changes. We're kind of up to the Cenotaph. Well, we just looked at the Cenotaph changes. Now we're looking at the Cyclone Fleet. So welcome in. It's going to be a big stream. It's going to be a long stream. So settle in. So the Cyclone Fleet had a velocity nerf and sig radius reduction per level bonus reduced as well. Okay. So CCP says the Cyclone Fleet issue is a bit healthier than the Ferox Navy, but still overperforming somewhat. Is it? First I've heard of the Cyclone Fleet overperforming, guys, but okay. Maybe not in my neck of the woods. We're reducing the speed slightly and also reducing the sig radius reduction bonus to the same as a Hyena to remove some of the mitigation it has. Okay. And the Harbinger Navy Issue got a power grid increase. So the Harby is underused and we're giving it some power grid to open up a few more fits. Combined with the changes to armor rigs and the other dominant battle cruisers being knocked down a bit, we hope this will make this a more attractive pick. Well, let's let the market be the judge of that, chat. Let's have a look at the Harbinger Navy on the market trends and see if it's spiking in price or not. I'd assume it is, but let's have a look. So it's 170 mil right now. Let's bring up the. Oh, you can't see it. It's looking pretty flat, chat. Flat chat hasn't changed. So it might be a bit of a dud change, but only time will really tell. So let's move on. Myrmidon Navy, love them. Love me some Myrmidons. I'm what can I say? I'm a fledgling, sort of up and coming multi-boxer, and one of my major skill plans is to skill into Myrmidons because they're a really strong drone boat. So I'd appreciate it, CCP, if you don't nerf the shit out of those ships before I've trained them up. Please and thank you. That'd be nice. So let's have a look at the changes anyway. So the Myrmidon Navy, the drone capacity's increased from 250 to 300 meters cubed, and now additionally it gets a 10% bonus to drone tracking per level, just like the Vexor Navy. That's sick! Yeah, to be honest, my skill plan for the Myrm was to fly the Tech 1 Myrmidon, not actually the Navy Issue Myrmidon, because I didn't deem it to be worth it, because the cost of the hull like flies through the roof with the Navy Issue variant, and the bonuses didn't really, I couldn't see the value in it. So now, CCP says that the Myrm Navy is still the least used battlecruiser in the entire game. There you go. So they're giving it a powerful tracking bonus to match the Vexor Navy, and then improving the drone capacity on it, so it has more options and it's harder to defang, and can afford to include more utility drones like the web drones it has a bonus to. Now, I would never bother using the web drones anyway, but it doesn't hurt to be able to bring a flight of them, to just have them, like to have them as a utility option. More options is generally better, so that could be good. Let's just have a look. Let me just, again, just while I'm on track here, let's just compare the Myrm and the Myrm Navy once again. Because I know I did this in Python. I'll probably need to update Python soon. So this has got drone damage, hit points, armor reps, can fit links, and has a bonus to drone speed. So that's pretty strong, and that's just a normal Tech 1. And it'll set you back 73 mil, which is pretty reasonable. And if you have a look at the recent graph here, it's actually taken a bit of a dip in price and it's slowly going back up. So it's pretty reasonably priced ship. However, the Myrmidon Navy, let's just compare it. Let's go info on it. So the Navy Issue has a bonus to drone hit points, tracking, and damage, so that's pretty attractive. Gets that bonus to web drones. Oh, you can't see where I'm reading. It's over here. I'm reading the bonuses here. Bonuses to web drone, factor of velocity, decrease, and hit points. A bonus to turret damage, which on a drone boat, who cares about a turret damage bonus? I reckon they should just delete that. I mean, it's kind of good to have as an option, but you're never gonna build a Myrm and focus on turret damage unless you're doing like a weird rail Myrmidon or something. But rails just got nerfed, so like, what are you doing at that point? It's got an armor repair bonus, which is nice. I can fit links, which is nice, same as the other one. It's got a roll bonus of optimal range and fall off, which to me says CCP wants us to use this as like a sniper fit, because it's got a massive bonus to range. But I don't know, because they just nerfed railguns again. Why would you do that? And a bonus again to drone micro velocity. So compared to the normal Myrmidon, it's kind of a bit better, but not by a huge amount. Like, I wouldn't use the hybrid damage bonus, I wouldn't use the hybrid range and fall off bonuses at all, and I don't really care about the stasis web drone bonus either, if I'm being honest. It's kind of there. But if you have a look, it is more than double the price. It's almost 200 mil for one of these. So to me, it's not worth it. And if you have a look at the market, the price history, it is flying up through the roof here because of the patch. It is spiked hard. So I don't know. I'm probably just be content with the normal Myrmidon for now, at least. But we'll see. It might be worth it in the future if there's a cool fit for it. The tornadoes. So it got an agility nerf. It got a velocity buff, minor buff, to base speed, and the fall off bonus per level has been improved from 5 to 7.5. And so CCP says, we've heard frustrations when it comes to dealing with lower line time, warp speed rigged, artillery fit tornadoes, wind runners. Well, I call them insta-lock sort of technology from way back, insta-pop technology with their tornado artillery alpha damage, being able to 3-2-1 targets and stuff like that. So we're making an adjustment to the tornado, which should hurt it in this role, but buff it in other roles. Well, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys, that's the only tornado fit I ever flew. Was the insta-lock, like the scan res bonus, like sensor boosted, range fit, warp speed fit, tornado. So, whatever. We're nerfing the agility enough so it'll be much harder to get under 4-second line time on the tornado, even with 4 Tech 2 inertial stabs and skirmish command bursts, making this type of tornado a lot more vulnerable to being caught. So then people just go back to flying the Hurricane, because people used to fly Hurricanes that had the same loadout as a tornado before the tornado even came out, before the tornado was even thought of. So people just go back to using the cane. That's as simple as that. To compensate for this nerf, we're buffing the base speed and also improving fall-off bonus. And then outcomes, hopefully the wind runner fits are less effective, it can be caught easily, tornadoes are staying on the field, feel stronger. I don't know about that. I think if you want a tornado that stays on the field a bit longer, you'd fly a, what do you call it? I forgot the name of it. The Galente one. The Talos. You just fly a Talos. Whatever. Anyway. Talos might be shit now as well, because I use rails. No, I use blasters and rails. So like compared to an artillery tornado, the rail Talos might not be as good now because of the nerfs to rails, the large rails. Anyway, as I say that, the Talos has got just a little velocity buff, giving the Talos a little love since it's underused. Okay. And the Deimos has had a little buff. So CCP says the Deimos had a very large sig radius for a brawling focused armor hack, moving it down to 120, which places it between the Vagga and the Zealot, so it can mitigate more damage. This should help it when brawling and in armor hack rolls. And the Zealot has had a rate of fire bonus replaced with a bonus to damage. So this is a very small damage bump from 33.3 to 37.5, but it helps the Zealot a lot more with cap stability. Now that's the Zealot's biggest problem. I'm a bit of a Zealot fan from way back. I'm a nano guy, nano enjoyer from years ago, and the Zealots were the nano ship way back in the days. But the biggest issue with fitting a Zealot nowadays is the cap issues, and also the lack of tank. Like they nerfed. CCP nerfed the heavy assault cruiser Tech 2 resists bonus, because back in the days when you moved up from like an Omen Navy to a Zealot, you would naturally get more EHP in the Zealot because the Zealot had what we used to just call Tech 2 resist profile, and in the Tech 2 ship resistance profile it would have higher base resist, usually much higher than a Tech 1 variant, which making that jump up felt at the time way more worth it. You weren't buying the ship to tank necessarily, but you were just getting that sort of built-in survivability, and it felt like a true meaningful upgrade, just that change from training like your cruiser 5 and then into your heavy assault cruiser. I was like, wow, like, Zealot's like an Omen Navy, but it's got more tank. But then that all got nerfed. Now, like the heavy assault cruiser resistance profiles are actually shit. If you have a look at them, they're really average. So yeah, you have to, like with the Deimos, it's easier to get good resist profile with a good tank. The Deimos is very sort of active tank friendly, but something like a Zealot where you just want to sort of make it go fast and make it have long range sort of damage protection, like a beam Zealot, a nano beam Zealot, something like that, you're not tanking at all. So yeah, it sort of comes out about the same as an Omen Navy, I think, in EHP, which doesn't really feel like an upgrade because you're paying like 3x, 4x the money for the hull. So that's why was one of the reasons why a lot of people these days will just take an Omen Navy any day of the week instead of a Zealot. So there you go. But yeah, the cap stability issue is always helpful. They should probably do the same thing to the Omen and the Omen Navy as well, because all three of those ships have had cap issues since day one. You need like perfect cap skills before they're even usable. So a lot of new players just stay away from them. To the point where if you've got a new Amar pilot, you'll probably sooner tell the pilot to fly an Arbitrator rather than an Omen in the early days, just because it's less skill intensive with the cap. And drones usually need a little less skills to be effective off the rip. Alright, so the Mamba has had a new roll bonus added, 25% bonus to drone max velocity. Ooh, that's a big bonus, dude. That's like the Algos gets a drone a speed bonus too, and your light drones are just like, whoop, they're so fast, man. And the maximum velocity of the ship's been improved as well. So it seems like almost every ship they're touching here is getting a base speed increase. It's like they're making the game faster naturally. And the Mekubal has a new bonus, 50% bonus to small projectile fall off. So these two ships, honestly, they've barely been on my radar since I returned to the game. I looked at them, I tried to like theory craft a fit for them a bit, and what I came up with was kind of underwhelming for the amount of sort of ISK you're putting on the field, because these are 150 mil hulls just for a little destroyer. So as well as it being a little bit rich for my blood, I could get similar or better performance out of other ships in the class. For example, like a Thrasher fleet. So I didn't really bother with stuff like a Mamba. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't 150 mil, I'd probably look at it. But at this point, I'm just happy with my algos, so I'll just keep using that. The Mekubal, I don't really know about it at all. I tried to like fit one up and it just seemed like a trash ship. It was either trash or just really niche. I couldn't think of like a use case. It looks cool. I love the look of it. Look at it. Look at that. Look at that. It looks sick. Sick looking ship. But so it's got a bonus to projectile tracking, projectile fall off, projectile damage, projectile fall off, and warp speed. So it's definitely an out-and-out gunboat. Let's have a look at. Let's do a quick fit. Let's do a quick little fit. Because you're basically comparing this directly to a Thrasher. Because a Thrasher and the Thrasher fleet sort of set the bar for gunboat destroyers. That and the Coercer, they're both really good. You could say the Cat Navy as well, but the Cat sort of has, what am I going to say? Blasters are like 0 range, so I'm thinking like sort of longer range, I guess. But Cat Navy's good as well. So let's see how it stacks up. Let's go. What are we going to put on it? We probably do cannons. So 200 mil. Just put a rack of these on just to start. So we've got 2 utility highs straight up. We've got 3 mids. So what do we want for mids? Probably just want, I don't know, what do you want, micro warp? Does it have any speed bonus? Warp speed. Alright, we'll just put like a 5MN on it to start with. And just tackle, so we'll put like a web and scram. Yo, welcome to the party, Trash Daddy Gamer, welcome in, good to see you. I hope you're having a good day, night, morning, pre-noon, evening, wherever you are. My name's Nomad, call me Simon Nomad. My name's actually Graham, you can call me Nomad or Simon Nomad. We're just looking at the patch notes, digging deep through these patch notes of these major patch, and I'm just having a quick look at some of the ships that interest me as we go along. I guess I'll just throw a damage control in the other one. Maybe we could try hull tank in it. No, it's over on CPU. Alright, we'll just ignore that for now. Let's put transverse bulkheads on it, or whatever they're called. Those rigs, where are they? They're called bulkheads. Transverse bulkheads, yeah, just put 3 of those on there. So what's wrong with the CPU? 3% over. Why are we 3% over? Hang on. Let me just downgrade the micro warp. We'll put the YT8 compact on there. Still over on CPU. Why are we over on CPU? Is it because I'm running 3 gyros maybe? Does it do 2 turrets? I could put a nano on there or something instead. Let me just check the damage first, because I could run that with an implant. Yeah, like a 2% CPU implant. Hang on. So we go hail, just to have a check. So what are we doing? We're doing 450 DPS for my skills, out to 12Ks, which is basically within scram range and web range, which lines up nicely with my scram and web. I wonder if you can fit like an afterburner fit. Hang on. So if we do like, can we do like a 10MN Mekubal? Chat? Do you think we can? Hang on, let's try. How far is it over? Or is it 100MN? I'm trying to think, because that fits pretty easy. Surely it's not 100MN. I'm trying to think of how I did the Draugr. I can't remember how I fit the Draugr up. Wait, what? Just fit it. How far is that over? 700. Yeah, I probably couldn't. Even with Ansels, there's no way, right? There's no way, chat. There's no way. What do we want? What are they called? Ancillary current routers. So we got rigs. There we go. We got 3 small. Oh, we're over on. Yeah, there's no way, chat. That'd be crazy if it fit, because it does 2.3k a second. What is that? 400% over. Even if I put reactor controls, it probably wouldn't fit. Let me just rip all these guns off. Hang on. How much damage did I say that was doing? 400. See, there's still nowhere near. A Cat Navy does like 600 damage with its blasters. I have to put a tech one on there for that to actually fit. Let's just rip these off. Just for science, chat. I'll just see if this is actually something that's possible at all. No, it's not. All right, it's still 300% over. Okay. So if we go 10MN. Boom. Ba-boom. We'll just put... Oh, we won't put that. Will we? No, we won't. We'll put... what I had before, the cold gas. Was it cold gas? No, enduring. What enduring? 10MN enduring. That's the one. Just for cap. We'll take all these fitting rigs off. Take all the fitting modules off. So we did the autocannons. Let's try artillery, yeah? What do we want? Modules, high slots. Now, can't remember. Small artillery. It's 280mm howitzers, isn't it? This is small? Yeah, that's what you put on the Thrasher. So you're getting tracking, fall off. Okay, yeah, so you should be getting some good power grid overloaded already. That's not a good sign. Alright, so let's put one Ansel rig back on. Put a Tech 1. Still doesn't fit. Oof. Let's put a Tech 2. Alright, that fits. Put the gyros back on the lows for damage. And I've got one CPU left. Alright, maybe 2 gyros and like a nano and like a damage control or something. To give it a bit more maneuverability as well. It does do 2k a second, so it's not too bad for speed, honestly. What's its align time? 2.8 align, that's pretty nimble. That is pretty nimble, chat. What else? Tenement. Okay. And what sort of damage then? So if we go... I usually run Quake these days with Arties, just as a baseline. So we're doing 250 out to 28, which is it's a little bit anemic, but if I'm thinking about... You worry more about the alpha with these than the DPS. And I'm sort of thinking about my Cinnabal, because I've been flying that recently, and it only, on paper, it only does like 300 and something damage, like DPS, but it doesn't matter, because I can, like, two-shot, like, I can kill a destroyer in 7 seconds because of the artillery cycle time, so one hit them into armor, and then the second shot will just kill them. That's pretty much any destroyer, once I get within optimal range, so that's sort of how you have to think about artillery. As far as this being a good artillery platform, I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, it looks pretty solid on paper. It doesn't have much tank. Like I haven't put the haven't put the rigs back on. Hang on, it's kind of paper thin right now. Hold on, might just be how I fitted it or half fitted it. We'll go back to modules, rigs, transverse. Okay, let's put Tech 2s on there. This is a pretty expensive hull. So it doesn't even get 10k HP, hull tanked. I don't even know if you want to be bothered putting an armor tank on. Like you could probably put like a small Ansel rep or something. Will that fit instead of the nano? Probably not. No, I've only got 0.3 power grid left. 99% power grid. What about if we put like an ice stab for a line time? What's that go down to? 2.6, man, that's crazy. 3.3, yeah, dude. Under 3 second align. And it's got the 2 utility highs, but because I'm running the highest sort of caliber artillery on it, there's no fitting left to do anything with these high slots, unfortunately. And it doesn't get any fitting bonus to any special like module or anything like that. And it warps at 5.6. Which is, yeah, it's alright. I mean, for a destroyer, it's okay. It's about as fast as a frigate, I guess. It kind of moves like a frigate. It's very expensive, though. So I'll save that. I'll just put like Artie. I'll just put like Artie. Mekubal, put question mark and then untested. Save that maybe for later. I don't know if it's worth giving it a go. I'm kind of interested in making one work. I just have to think of like a niche, sort of how and where I'm going to try and use it. Whether it's going to be null sec, low sec, you know, drifter space. I don't know. I have to think about it a bit more. So CCP say that the Mamba and the Mekubal aren't quite at the power level expected from a pirate destroyer. I would agree with that assessment. The current price point, yeah, the price is like, they're really, really expensive for what they don't do on paper. As I say that, chat, I am being notified we have an incoming. Yeah, welcome back, chatters. Welcome back to the stream. We will continue now. I just took that opportunity to change my fit because, goddamn, it's gotten so cold here in the last half an hour or so. Oh, that's better. Alright, so where are we up to? So, the Mamba and Mekubal got a buff. Magnate Navy Issue, cap improvement, Harbinger Navy Issue, cap improvement, same with Imicus and the Probe Fleet. CCP says setting the Navy scanning frigates base cap amounts and recharge time is the same as their Navy racial counterparts. This results in having much higher capacitor pools and slightly higher cap per second. It's difficult to use in PvP because of how low the cap pool was. I've never used these or even thought about using any of these in PvP, so to me that's whatever. Skybreaker and Stormbringer have additional high slot. I heard about this during the 8 Alliance tournament. CCP basically just said we're just going to throw a utility slot on them in the hope that they can do more than that one thing that they do well, which at the moment is PVE. I've never flown them because one of them on their own is kind of useless. You need a group of them to do anything. So to me they're kind of like a multi-boxer ship. But anyway, what is this? Outpost skill. Making the outpost skill worth training at high levels. No item in the game requires to be high level 3, the vast majority are required at 1. % production per manufacturing time. Oh, okay. Factional Warfare, here we go. The minimum requirement to join the pirate factions has been raised from 2 to 0 to match the 4 Empire militias. Now, I wish this had happened a week ago, chat, because if you were tuned in to the stream last week, you would have seen little old me, Cyber Nomad, having to do the Angel Epic arc with 4 of my characters in fleet sharing the rewards because of shenanigans with Fraternity Auxiliary. I was basically taking some standing hits. So yeah, is that... Sorry, it might have been a bit quiet. So yeah, that's a welcome change, I think. Without thinking it through too much, I don't know if you can game it. But anyway. CCP says we're raising the standing requirements for players and corporations who enlist with Pirate Insurgency from -2 to 0, as we said we would in the earlier patch notes released way back in June. We're doing this to address concerns with team killing, aka AWOXing, in the pirate militias. So I've been pretty vocal about this. The other streamers that I'm sort of friends with and I fly with in Factional Warfare in the past, especially around that time, around June, before June came out, hilariously, we ran into AWOXing quite a lot. It seemed to be part of the game. I don't understand why it was. It ruined us being able to do the content. And it was just really scummy sort of in-game behavior. Now, I know that the CCP and EVE Online specifically historically have encouraged kind of scummy sort of lowbrow behavior and scams and stuff like that, but this was to the point where we couldn't even play the content that CCP had developed because we were just being team killed, player killed, like they said. We were getting AWOXed on the daily, and we basically recorded it. We had Chaos did it live and just showed everyone live what happened, and then I think in the background he sort of linked CCP into that through his channels just to make them aware, to increase the awareness. And ever since then I've been sort of struggling with Factional Warfare gameplay because of the AWOXing. A direct impact on my gameplay is that I have a little corp that I made just for my ults, which is really fun to set up and everything. It was the first time I ever did it. But then I kind of felt like I had to join an alliance that's in the militia that has a permanent war deck with Fraternity, because they were the biggest AWOXers in the area that I fly around Amamarke, in the Angel Factional Warfare sort of pipe down south, in that sort of pocket. They're sort of an ever-present threat, and to the point where I refer to them as a scourge on New Eden when I'm in game, because sort of I feels like everywhere I go they're there. There's always the threat of being team killed, there's always the threat of being AWOXed, and they sort of like to bully you out of the content by dropping numbers on, like dropping just more numbers on your face, and it doesn't matter to them that you're in the same militia as them, because you're not in Fraternity, you just get killed. So if you take the terminology from other games, they play like murder hobos, where they'll just get into an MMO but they'll just kill everyone. They'll just kill everyone indiscriminately for no real reason other than you're not in their alliance, and that's just, it's really shitty behavior. It is so bad. And I've been sort of lobbying for CCP to do something about it since then, because to be honest, when I first got into Factional Warfare like proper, like I'd done it on the Empire side, I flew in Caldari militia for years and years on alts, and it was great at the time, but once I joined the pirate, like the Angels, man, it was like next level. I had so much fun with it. But just this AWOXing really just soured the whole experience, and really, it was really annoying. It was really actually, how do I say, it reduced the ability of what we could actually do, and it killed a lot of the fun. But I'm not saying that CCP haven't done anything. They've already made multiple changes in previous patches just since that happened. And now this is another big one as well. So we'll go on to, I'm really interested to see what else they say. That was just my little spiel, my little 2 cents. So CCP said they're doing this to address concerns of AWOXing, which happens significantly more frequently in the pirate factions than the Empire factions. That's what I noticed as well. So that's validating for me, because it was really surprising for me to come from Caldari militia, which everyone was friendly in militia chat. There were all these like open fleets, people would fleet up, people would share intel. It was sort of like a wholesome vibe. Everyone would play together. You know, it'd be the point where I'd warp into a Plex. If I saw a friendly militia in the Plex, I'd just fleet invite the guy. Be like, hey man, how you going? Do you want to team up? And he'd be like, yeah, sure, let's do this, let's do that. And it was that sort of open, emergent, sort of teamwork gameplay that I really valued. And then I naively, when I went to Angel Factional Warfare, I assumed it'd be the same sort of thing. It's just now that we're on the pirate side. But no. It was AWOXing. No one shares any intel. I found one channel so far where we sort of share a bit of intel about what's going on, and I'm a FC now, so I run fleets when I'm on. So people can join up and we can share things, but I really sort of feel isolated in the Angel Faction Warfare because there's no teamwork going on, and you can barely even talk in militia chat because you know Frat is going to be in there, so they'll see what you're doing, they'll see where you are if you share your location, and they'll just come and team kill you. They'll just come and AWOX you, and then they'll just take the plex that you're doing and loot your wreck. And then they'll give me death threats in local, and they'll tell me that I'm stealing their plex, even though we're on the same side. It's all this stuff, chat. There's all these massive issues with their behavior in the game. So anyway, we'll stick to just the game changes at the moment. Otherwise, I'll go on a epic rant for another hour. Okay. So we're saying AWOXing happens significantly more frequently in the pirate factions than the Empire factions. I was never, for the record, I was never ever AWOXed when I spent years in the Caldari militia. But the first day I joined Angel militia, I joined a fleet and I joined into Gate Camp because it was one of the systems that had a bubble. We had a saber capital, so I warped into the bubble, said, "Hey guys in militia, joined the fleet. So what's going on?" They didn't say anything. They just blew me up. Straight away, they just killed me on the where I stood. And I was just like, oh, I see how it is. So that's my experience. Wasn't a positive one. Alright. Then the Empire factions already have a Sentry from 0. So to explain it, they're saying by raising the minimum to 0, corporations can no longer add fresh characters to bring their corp standings up below 2, as was previously the case. So this is something that Fraternity would rely on to enable them. It was a contributing factor to enable them to continuously and on the daily AWOX me. And not just me, because it was me, my buddies in fleet, plus my alts, plus their alts. They just indiscriminately kill, like, you know, a dozen characters or more per day. And in the next day, they'd still be in militia. So I think they were exploiting a bug, and then there was this standing requirement as well. Both of those working in tandem basically allowed them to permanently AWOX. The CCP admit here that we know this isn't going to completely fix the problem with team killing in factional warfare, but we hope it does reduce the number of incidents in pirate militias for the time being. Me too. I really hope that that's the case. This makes me excited to get back out there. We're actually pushing, we're trying to push a system at the moment to what do you call it, Corruption 5, so I hope that happens. Cobray asks, is there a penalty to team killing? they're not. They're kind of. Well, technically, yes. There isn't a big enough penalty, in my opinion. At the moment, you just get like a suspect timer for 15 minutes. You take a standing hit for aggression against your own militia, and that's about it. That's about the only changes, or the only penalties that happen when you aggress friendly militia. So, sort of in the background, sort of on the side while all this has been happening with Factional Warfare, I was invited to like an open forum in a different Discord for Factional Warfare. We have, as far as I can see in Angel or Cartel, we only have one representative. I'd be interested to make that two, to be honest, because I'm pretty active in the scene. But I gave my 2 cents. I've said this on stream before, I'm happy to say it again, that they need to actually increase the penalty. So if you do, my solution's a 2-part one. If you aggress friendly militia, you were given an audio warning that says that this behavior is not acceptable. You take a big standing penalty at that point, like a significant one, more than what you do now. And that's sort of all that happens. Obviously, you go suspect or whatever. But if you kill an enemy ship, so if you're involved in a killing of a friendly militia ship, or you're the final blow on one, you just instantly removed from Factional Warfare for 24 hours. You just instantly get kicked. That, to me, it's a harsh but fair punishment, because that'll instantly stop people. They'll be like, it'll make them think, alright, I can kill this guy right now, but I'll lose all of the faction war bonuses and rewards if I do that. And additionally, I won't be able to get any of those for at least the next day. And if the standing penalty is so egregious that it would make it unlikely that even after 24 hours they could rejoin, because they might have to grind their standing a bit more and sort of make it a bit more of a long-lasting punishment than just a sort of knee-jerk standing, you docked minus whatever, and then that's it, But that's just what I think. I think it's an easy fix. Yeah, because there's no reason to ever aggress a friendly militia. If you want to, there's a dueling system. You can use that to do it safely. Yeah, there's just no reason to do it. That's just what I think. Anyway, insurgency balances. Ooh, there's more changes to faction war. Here we go. So they reduced the base amount of systems needed to be 1 from 7 to 5. Oh, okay. So a lot of the time since I've been doing faction warfare, it'll end, right? And it will just say that no side won. And I'm like, well, hang on, we won. We pushed every system to 5 corruption. We gate camped. We killed a bunch. We did a whole bunch of plexes. Like, I did a bunch of stuff. Why did we win? I don't know. But yeah, so that's probably a good change. Increase the ambition modifier cap. I don't even know what that is. From 13 to 15. So winning 20 systems is still the maximum difficulty cap. Ambition modifier. Maybe that's the percentage that goes up. Let's have a look, hang on. I'm in faction war down here. Oh no, I'm in Uitro, never mind. Let's go. Wait, what do you mean join the insurgency? Why is this guy not in militia anymore? Hang on. I just fixed his standings, didn't I? Hang on, show info. Yeah, he's not in militia anymore. What? I thought I signed back up with this guy. Unless I left it again. Hang on, let me check. Pause chat, hold, I just gotta check something. So he's in his training pod. Let me check his standings. Faction. We want Angel. Minus, oh, because of the change. It's now 0. So my dudes might have been kicked. My dudes might have been kicked out of faction war because of the changes, because I'm -1. And it'd be base standing too. I couldn't fix it with skills. Like it's saying here, if I trained diplomacy, I could improve it, but I don't think that would actually work. Yeah, see these aggression. Can you see? Hang on. Can I make this bigger? You can see these aggression penalties, right? This is currently what it was when you aggressed a friendly militia. This is me killing Frat Auxiliary, by the way, because I have all the permanent war deck, as you can see up here, with Frat, but not with their auxiliary. They have multiple alliances for some reason, probably just to game the system a little bit. So this is why I'm getting the penalties. But if you have a look at the aggression penalties, they're pretty small, like 0.8, 1 point, you know what I mean? So, and I've had multiple in a row before I had any sort of repercussions or consequences where I had to go and do that. You can see I've just done it like a couple of days ago, the Angel Epic arc. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to grind Angel standings to be able to get back into Militia. So that's gonna be a new side quest for me, and I'll just have to find out how many of my toons have this problem as well, and get them all sorted up. So that's pretty cool. That's kind of cool actually. But let me just check this system. Where is it? Roquefort, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, so we've got it to stage 4. Nice. Nice. Yeah, this thing. Oh, hang on. My head's in the way. This thing here might be the ambition modifier, I'm guessing, or the little percentage that goes up for each plex that you do. I guess it slows down the higher you progress through the faction war, because these are the systems that you can get to 5. So at the moment we're up to 7 out of 20 in this insurgency. So that's cool. Alright, back to the patch notes, guys. Alright, so they increase the weighting of frontline and command op systems for the insurgency fob when choosing a system for a new insurgency, so it is more likely to choose those systems. I don't understand that. Let me read that again. So they increase the weight of the frontline and command op systems for the insurgency fob. Oh, so all that's saying is when a new insurgency spawns, usually a fob or a forward operating base is picked as a system where they'll anchor a structure that we can tether to as Angel faction. So all this is saying is now it'll be far more likely for that system to be either a frontline or a command op system rather than just a random sort of system. So that's probably a good change, I think. That's a very tactical change, so it will depend on sort of the political landscape of the area of those frontline systems, which I'm not really across. Like, for example, where Fraternity is stage out of, where Snuffed stage out of, like the big corps, like where Min Fleet live, like in Sissi, Vard, all those areas, Ivadi, Torifron, that sort of stuff. So that'll be interesting to see for the future insurgencies, what sort of impact that has. And this increased the weighting of dominant control. So when a side owns 66% or more of the war zone, so that the insurgency fob is more likely to choose those systems. Okay. So it's making it more focused sort of conflict instead of sort of spreading out, because corruption generally, like to a point, the corruption can spread randomly. Once you get it to a dead end system, it can sort of jump across to different areas. Insurgency mining, so the mining op changes. Let's have a look. So they've increased the signature radius of the hijacker taipans and echoes from 25 to 80, which is the same as all Atrons, so they're much easier to track. Alright, well that's a good thing. So easier to kill the rats is what they're saying. And increases shield hit points of the pirate and mortis battleships by 50% to increase the time it takes to run the sites a bit and give more opportunities for players to get caught while running the site. So yeah, we would try speed running it a little bit, and I've especially noticed Fraternity can just absolutely blitz those sites. They bring in, well, they've all been nerfed now, but they bring in a bunch of Ferox Navies, all with rails, and they will just sit at like 70 or 100 Ks and just snipe the rats and just delete the entire mining ambush site in like 5 minutes flat or less. To the point where sometimes I'd get to where it is and it's already finished, and then they would be warping out, and I'm like, damn, like that was quick. Anyway, CCP says the pirate tackle frigates had a very low sig radius when compared to the ore tackle frigates, and were very hard to track. Additionally, the sites were getting run a bit faster than we'd like, so we're increasing the time slightly by increasing the hit points of the battleships. Yeah, fair enough. Character resculpt. It's now possible to swap between male and female body models using a pilot's body resculpt certificate. Okay, well that's cool. As part of the update, every capsulee receives a free Resculpt that is bundled with the skill. Oh, free skill points! Yeah, I forgot. Get your free skill points, chat, in the store. Don't forget to do that. We'll grab that now. There we go. Plus bonus resculpting. There we go. So I could turn my girl into a boy if I want to. That's kind of a cool thing to think about. So I like her boobs, but I also wouldn't mind her being a boy because I'm a boy. You know what I mean? Not that I self-insert, but like her being like my main for so long. I don't know, dude. I'll have to think about that. There we go. That'll just sit in my redeem queue. Might play with that a little bit later. Oh, look, they've got sale on Cyber Crusher arms. Oh, I can make a Cyber dude. Look at that. I'm getting distracted. Hang on. We've still got probably like 3 hours of patch notes here, do we? Holy crap. Let's go. Let's have a look. So in regards to the Resculpt thing, this is normally an Omega only benefit, but until 16th of September it's available for alphas. The Resculpt token's been upgraded to allow a gender change for your character. Very nice. Thank you, CCP. That's super cool thing to do. What have we got? Highsec changes now. Autothizian Lancers, here we go. In the aftermath of the Drifter Crisis, the Autothizian Lancers no longer have a presence in Highsec. Oh, they got deleted. Bye. They used to sit on the drifter holes in Highsec. And forward operating bases that would previously spawn in Highsec are now spawning in Lowsec, and at a higher rate. Interesting. CCP say that we've been looking into the subject of capsulee safety in Highsec. As part of our investigation, we noticed that new players do lose ships to Lancers and Diamond Rats from the FOBs. While the new player journey should include the experience of ship loss, destruction at the hands of the Lancers and Diamond Rats does not adequately teach new players about how to improve their survivability. Exactly, they just kind of get deleted and they're like, oh, that was scary, and they don't really learn anything other than to stay away from those things if they can. The issue of Highsec safety is an ongoing discussion that requires further time and continuing feedback. Yeah, fair enough. Oh god, mission NPCs, still care about this? Increased NPC buy order quantities. I don't really care about that. NPC buy order, so it's easier to sell this loot from wormholes. Okay. New buy order will remain no more stack splitting. Okay. Quantity is split more equally, blah blah. Alright, that's good. New contribution methods. Our freelance jobs now include 3 new methods. So destroy pilot, project managers can now set up freelance jobs that reward destroying specific pilot organizations. Remote shield boosting and remote armor repair. Okay. Alright, Pochven changes, here we go. Smaller scale sites have had some mechanical tweaks. All sites now appear within the Trigger Opportunities page. Oh, that's good. NPCs within Edencom. Scout fleets no longer have mixed factions. Okay. Battleship NPCs no longer spawn during the first wave. NPC spawn locations have been moved to reduce bumping with a container. Various improvements to how NPCs within these sites handle idling and swapping targets. Okay. NPCs now make more consistent use of the micro-warp drives. Roadray battleship always spawns second and third wave. Alright, so that sounds like they're actually working on the PVE in Pochven, which is kind of cool. I've never really done much of it, but I wouldn't mind doing some of it sometime. CCP is adding the sites to the Trig Invasions page, has the locations visible at any range within the region. This promotes more perceptible movement around the triangle, also offering a way for hunters to locate targets. Yep. Separating Edencom subfactions mean there are less types of E-War to deal with. Oh, I see. Right. So if you had mixed rats in there before, you'd be getting neutered while you're getting jammed, while you're getting damped, potentially. I see. So this should bring the difficulty of sight more in line with that of the Convocation Watch Post. Okay. Lastly, battleships spawning in the initial wave could result in swings of difficulty and time requirements. Okay. This was especially true for incipient drone swarms, which could take far longer when multiple battleships spawned, right? Now, battleships only spawn during the second or third wave. Battleship spawns guaranteed in incipient drone swarm sites, both to supply standings gains and to ensure the site run times decent length. Okay. Rebalance torpid sleeper hives. I don't even know what they are. Chat, I don't know what that is. I guess that's a Pochven site? Or a J-Space site? I guess it's all under Pochven, so... Increase optimal per pilot ISK payout earned within Convocation Watch Post to 18 mil from 15. Okay. 3 instances of the site were proved to not be enough to meet demand. Okay. So the number of sites has been doubled. Oh, that's a good thing. Rewards have been rebalanced to compensate for the greater potential force. Okay. fortification watchposts and incom scout fleet sites continue to be less appealing than the insipid drone swarms and torpid sleeper hives due to negative standings effects. Alright. The payout increase aims to reward those who are willing to put up with the dangers these standings hits cause. Well, okay, everyone's got their price, I guess. Alright, so there's, yeah, payout bumps. You can't use micro jump drives within observatories. Observatories failure timer only starts after the initial guarded piece is destroyed. Okay. There's a big spiel about that. I'm not going to read all that, dude. We'll just move on. Now they're talking about NPC changes within vigilant points. So any Pochven PVE guys, it's probably worth reading all this. I'll link the patch notes in chat in a minute. I'm not going to read all this though. They're just talking about specific minutiae about people playing these plexes, these PVE plexes, PVE sites or whatever. Over my nursery groves have been rebalanced. Something about salvage. Value is increased. So it looks like they've buffed, like across the board, they've buffed these and increased the rate of spawn for these Pochven sites. It's kind of interesting. Science and industry increased Metanox daily consumption from 3600 to 4800, from 150 hourly to 200. Decreased magmatic gas volume from 0.1 to 0.01. Okay, that's a big decrease. Yeah, right. We're actively working towards a stronger long-term solution for Metanox and its impact. These changes are meant to be short-term iterations to nudge Metanox in the right direction, while we take the time we need to find a better long-term solution. Okay. It sounds like they put a band-aid on it. Sovereignty. It's now possible to configure Skyhooks while they're activating. It's now possible to configure Skyhooks remotely through Orbital Skyhooks page. Wormholes. Wandering K-Space wormhole connections have been added to C4 wormhole systems. Oh wow. Well, that's cool. Alright, so C4's got buffed. So there's Highsec connections, low and nullsec. K329 to connect to nullsec now. Alright. Each of these new wormholes will be battleship sized. These wormholes will be significantly rarer than those found in C5 and C6. Oh, cool. 142 and 248 wormholes now spawn frequently. Okay, well that's cool. Scan levels for certain wormholes have been changed. Oh, so wandering wormholes have been changed from level 1 scans to level 2 to make them a bit harder to scan. Those have been nerfed. Those are down level 2. Low sec went up to level 3, and whatever the 267s are went down. J492 will now appear within wormhole. Okay. The goal for these newish C4 wormholes and increased frequency of the wormholes is to give residents access to more content opportunities. Okay. In addition, those in C4s may occasionally luck into a direct Highsec connection. Nice. Scan levels have been tweaked for both consistency and usability. Any wormhole that can appear as both static and wandering will now use different scan levels so they're more easily distinguishable. Well, that's good. That's good information to have. I can't absorb all of that right now, but that is key information for wormhole enjoyers. So as you're scanning something, you can see before you fully scan it what kind of wormhole it is and ignore it if you want. So you'll save a bit of time, which is good. Alright, information window descriptions for wormholes have been updated. So the messages for wormholes destination, maximum ship size, lifetime and mass stability have been simplified. Oh, okay. Lifetime and mass stability messages now include colour for improved readability. Nice. 1 hour remaining lifetime message has been added, drifter wormhole destination message has been added, and a C13 wormhole destination has been added. Okay. So 1 hour remaining lifetime message. That's really helpful, because it used to be a 4-hour window and you just have to guess, like you have no real idea actually whether it was 3 hours 59 minutes or 1 minute. So the 1 hour lifetime remaining is actually super helpful. I think that's probably the biggest one, the biggest helpful one for me at least. This change aims to improve the readability of wormhole messaging and remove an unintuitive barrier for newer players. Messages no longer need to be decoded. Yeah, you'd have to get an explainer guide to explain what all of that means. It can now be read as plain text. Okay, new destination messages have been added to make them more clearly distinct from C1 to C3. These additions should still leave plenty of room for mastery, such as learning to narrow down locations further via wormhole names or appearances. Cool. The 1 hour remaining message gives players a bit more clarity to the level of risk they're taking when jumping through a wormhole near its EOL or end of life. This should be especially useful for those jumping through frigate wormholes. Nice. I like that change. I do like that. It is like could say it's simplifying it, you're dumbing it down, they're watering it down, they're dumbing it down. I don't really agree with that sort of knee-jerk assessment. They are doing that, yeah, they're simplifying it, but that's a good thing, because okay, so I was around when wormholes were new, and when you'd right-click show info on a wormhole, everyone would just sit there and have all these questions about what all of the text meant. And so what happened was all the wikis were updated and guides were made, sort of breaking down what each line of text meant in mathematic terms and number terms, which is what CCP is referring to as having to decode the wormhole information. So yeah, I like it. If you just want to tell us what the wormholes do and what they're about, I like it. That's good. It might mean more people use wormholes, which means, you know, there'll be more traffic in wormholes and be a busier sort of thing. And I'm all for that. I mean, wormholes are super fun, so it'd be cool to get more targets in there to kill, stuff like that. Anyway, what do we got? So the warp in and spawn points for C2 Cosmic Anomaly sites have been adjusted. Targeting prioritization for capital escalation site drift MCCs is now much more varied. Okay. The value of loot dropped from upgraded Avenger NPCs has increased to 50 mil from 35, and deep flow rifts no longer spawn within wormholes. Oh, the fishing got removed from wormholes, chat. No more fishing in wormholes. Okay. CCP say about this that many of the spawn points found in C2 anomalies were extremely far apart. This resulted in a lot of time within the site being dedicated to just moving between locations. Yeah, I noticed that. That's the first thing I noticed. I'm like, why do they spawn all the way over there? Anyway, having the spawns closer together makes running these sites more enjoyable and rewarding. Capital escalation site drifters often focus on logistics ships when present. Yes, they did. Making it easy for high value ships to avoid danger. These NPCs are now much more likely to vary the kinds of ships they target. Okay, that's a big mechanical change, actually. Okay. Alright. Upgraded Avenger NPCs will only appear and remain within a capital escalation site that has been escalated. Increasing the rewards earned by defeating these NPCs further encourages the use of capitals for this content, creating more juicy targets out in space. Yeah, we can only hope, right? Deep flow rifts have generally been considered out of place within the wormhole ecosystem, and as such have been removed. Oh, well, that's a bit sad. Already existing sites remain, but will not respawn once completed. Well, rip fishing. I guess the wormholers didn't like fishing. Fine. Fine, I guess. Fine. Now we're into defect fixes. I don't know if I'm going to read all this. Anything interesting? Retriever. Yeah. Okay, who cares? Localization. Typo. Pochven. Okay. And that's it. I think we got to the end. I think we made it to the end. How long have I been streaming for, chat? 2.5 hours! 2.5 hours to cover the patch notes, chat. I haven't even played Eve yet. Holy. So that's all of the patch notes, chat.